Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Extinct Bricks Originals. And for this very special episode, this is a special series on the Jurassic World REBIRT. And for our very first video, this is our VELOCIRAPTOR from Jurassic World REBIRT, a Lego custom
Alright, so
tutorial.
here's the base figure that we're going to use for the Jurassic World REBIRT VELOCIRAPTOR, and since it doesn't really have a lot of additional features, so we're going to use pretty much most of what we have here. We're just going to put here a small crest and of course some quills here on the back of its neck, and that's it. We're just going to recolor it based on the actual figure, so it maintains that Lego-like feel. So here's the raptor that I've already created. Like I said, it would have that small crest on the head, and it would have the what do you call those, spiky quills on the back of the neck. And I just removed some of the extra plastic in the tail, as well as that on the claws and also on the thighs here. And yeah, so I'd like to put here the Jurassic Park 3 Raptor, which is very similar. I just added several more quills to it so that it would have the same effect as that of in the photo here on the Jurassic Park 3 Jurassic Park REBIRT VELOCIRAPTOR. I know it was an early and unexpected reveal, but nonetheless we thought that that would be actually the raptor for Jurassic Park REBIRT. And here is also the альфа-велоцираптор, made by, I think this was by a different company other than Mattel. I forgot the name, but it had this very colorful coloration to it, not similar to what the raptors of Jurassic Park 3 would be. So now that we have this, we're going to primer this particular bad boy, and then we're going to paint this. Oh, and if you guys are asking what kind of clay I used for this, this is actually Pioneer non-sag epoxy. Here it is. It has two parts to it, A and B. You just mix them up together, and then you'll get the effect of the clay. It would end up something like very similar to this one, which is malleable. You'll have around 10 minutes or so to create your sculpt, and then it will dry on its own and will set up stone hard. Alright, and here is the raptor after we have primered it. So it's just gray. What I used is what do you call that, number 68 Bosnia primer in gray. So we have waited for this one to dry, and now we're going to paint it. So here we have already primered our VELOCIRAPTOR from Jurassic World REBIRT, and it's very similar to just the VELOCIRAPTOR actually when it's unpainted of Jurassic Park 3, but we only had seen the promotional material, so we're not quite sure if this is really the actual look of the raptor. But I'm going to take inspiration from the design elements that Marco Makes have done, and here it is in this particular photo over here. So we're going to look into that in terms of how we're going to paint this particular VELOCIRAPTOR. Alright, so we'll start by, of course, preparing our materials. So we have here a permanent marker, which we will be using for detailing. We have here different sizes of brushes. We have some acrylics over there, some water, and of course our handy dandy hair dryer. I don't know if we'll be needing this because it's scorching hot here in the Philippines, but still I brought it out. Okay, so let's start painting. So the first color would be this very light gray. I used unbleached titanium, a little bit of white, and just a touch of black, just to make it grayish in color. and we're going to have this painted on the lower parts of our Velociraptor. And I tried to make it as thin as possible so that, you know, for figures such as this, which is quite small, having a very thick paint on it would really make the the figure suffer in terms of articulation as well as playability, and it will not look good, to be honest. So try to be as much as possible thin out your paint when painting on small figures such as this one. Alright. And here are the winners for Guesses PC contest. We have 10 lucky picks. Here they are. Fernando Reyola, Bobby Bob, Restoring Allosaurus, Tandat Nguyen, Epic Dino Battle, Beckle Evan Altaspinax, Gilbert Coco Channel, Aiden Stevenson, and Victoria. And now for top 10 winners.
Top 10.
Dino Raptor PL.
Top 9.
Barry Addison.
Top 8.
Prehistoric Light.
Top 7.
Anna Schwartz.
Top 6.
Concrete Man.
Top 5.
Fabian Robertson.
Top 4.
Colton Todd.
Top 3.
Jurassic Pet.
Top 2.
Aris Zapata.
And top 1.
And Arizu A60. Congratulations, everyone. And for those of you who'd like to join here's how. Just click on the Extinct Bricks icon. It will link you to the Extinct Bricks homepage. And the homepage just click on the community link to see all our posts.
The secondary color would be this light gray that we are going to paint on, well, basically the entire figure except those that we have already painted early on. So this would include of course the head portion, that of the body, the entire arm, some parts of the leg of course, and then the tail. So it's good that I already have the figure already base coated in gray, so just in case, you know, I miss out on any, on any areas, it wouldn't bite me in the ass if I leave those, and there will be areas where we have exposed unpainted areas. But try as much as possible to, of course, paint on the areas where you need to paint on, and do not leave any marks behind. So like I said in the beginning of the video, try to as much as possible use thinned out paint so you won't have those brush lines or brush strokes. Alright, so the next color would be those bluish tinge on the eye area. So we're starting off with this primary blue color with a little bit of white to it, and then later on we're going to blend through a much lighter coloration on the lower parts. So we're doing this on the other side as well, since we already have the color on the brush, and then we're going to make this a little bit lighter by adding in some white to it, and we're going to blend that carefully towards the lower section of the eyes, like so.
I'm actually trying to create a gradient later on, but so far that's how we're going to go for now. We're going to go back with the much darker blues, and we're going to blend it on the lighter ones, right? So we're going to add some more blues to it. Then go back like so, and somehow tap it gently towards the lower section. Yeah, just about it. Alright, so this time we're going to add in some more coloration to our figure. So this is just yellow ochre with a little bit of white to it, and we're going to have this color blended through some of the gray ones that we had here earlier on. And then later on we're going to add some more warmth to it by putting in some oranges into the color palette. Like so. Alright, now so we're adding a brighter color of yellow to our figure. As you can see here, it lightens up the figure just a bit more than the yellow ochre that we have, and we're just going to paint it on the snout of our Velociraptor. So using the same colors that we have, we're just going to add some touch of orange to it. So it gives that, you know, warmth of red on the figure, like so. Then later on we're going to come back with the yellows for it to be blended a little bit more. Because our orange here is a little bit too strong. Now here with a watered down darker gray than what we have on earlier, but not so dark, we're going to recreate the stripes on the Velociraptor as how it is actually seen in the party balloon spoiler of the Velociraptor from Jurassic World REBIRT. I've marked down where the stripes would eventually go on the top area of the figure, like so, and how thick it would be at the base, like so. And then we're going to stretch down the paint from that area going down, so it recreates that broad stripes on the figure, like so. It seems very rudimentary, but later on we're going to somehow change up the dimension by adding in several other layers of stripes on top of these stripes, if you get what I mean. So we have here a slightly lighter gray that we're going to add in some details on our figure, such as very small stripes and speckling on the figure, as you can see here. Somehow, you know, I'm balancing out lighter one. And what this is going to do is that it's going to not just add details but also some dimension into these stripes, and so it's not too very cartoony at all. So here is how it looks like after it has actually dried. And now we have here pure black, and we're going to paint the claws, the silk claws, and the, what do you call those on top of its head, the quills. We're going to paint those. With this same color. Of course, the detail has to be on point for our VELOCIRAPTOR, and so we're going to, as much as possible, put in the details. That includes, painting all of the claws and as much as possible covering as much detail as we have in the reference for this particular VELOCIRAPTOR. So we're trying to be as premium as much as possible, because sometimes Lego would tend to not color some of the parts, and we fully understand that it's more of a choice from their end. Alright, so we're putting in the final details on our VELOCIRAPTOR. As you can see here, we've added some white dots on the quills, and we're going to do the same here on the other side. So here's what I do, and I'm just going to put a sample. So just one dot, two dots, and that's it. One dot, two dots. For longer, you can add another one, three, like so, and it goes on and on.